Start with
Think so.
roll call.
Alsop,
Present.
Bishop,
Present.
Collins,
Here.
Comfort, Harbor,
Here.
Ireland,
Here.
Pasevich, Rothfuss,
Here.
Sitzma.
Here.
And then in our packet was included the minutes from our October 18th meeting. And so we open those up for approval.
I move we approve minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay, any discussion, any corrections, any kind of modifications on those? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as written, signify with an eye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, very good. Board correspondence, public input, friends report, team advisory report. And we have some unfamiliar faces, well, familiar, but on board faces, I guess. That sounds kind of weird too, around the table. Shailene Walker is one, and I'm presuming you're here for a team advisory report, or as a representative of the team advisory committee or anything. Is there anything that you'd like to share with us at this point? And I might be scaring you to death, and I don't mean to be doing that whatsoever.
Yes, he does, Shirley.
No, I hate that. I mean, that's not, maybe nobody even asked it. Maybe no one even prepped you for the possibility of saying anything, so if not, we say hi to you for sure. Do you have anything to tell us, or? Okay, good. Friends reports.
You want to go first, Brian?
You can go first because you're president.
Okay. I'm Brian Johnson. I'm the president of the Friends of the Oskaloosa Public Library. Okay, there you go. So basically, going to report on our last year's annual report. Basically, we had starting out on September 1st, 2015, our balance was $10,261 and some cents. Where we get mostly our money from is basically we get from memberships. We have 144 individual members, 22 family, and 25 lifetime members. And we also get some donations from like Cargill and Pella Corporation. Both Ray and I are both, well, Ray is retired, and I work for Pella Corporation, and if I volunteer some of my volunteer hours, I get some cash for that. And the other thing is we got, last year and this year, around $950 we normally get. We co-sponsor with AAUW and have a book sale at the mall. So, last year, we earned about $3,172, and some of our expenses, we spent $3,085 of that, and some of the expenses that we did was the books for babies. That was about $210. We gave $1,000 for the summer reading program, and Nicole used that to have a program that she used for that, and that was one of her requests. We also gave $95 to the staff so they can have t-shirts for the summer reading program, $500 for 1,000 books program for the kindergartners to encourage them to read 1,000 books before they go to kindergarten. The Penn Central Theater, we sponsored like the merchant for the movies. So during for the holidays and also during the summer, so kids can come in here and grab a ticket and just walk down the street and go to the movie. We put a sign in the alley for the library. It took us a lot longer to figure out what our sign, or it took a lot longer for marketing to figure out what we're going to finally say, but it's basically I forget what the slogan was right at the end, but it's basically,
I read it, but I don't.
yeah, a book is priceless at your Oskaloosa Public Library. So then we also did the Sweet Corn Serenade in August. We did a program for the bus program about Iowa history in May, and that was about $350. We did a couple receptions for people, for the staff, a couple of staff that retired last year, and we sponsored the book page, and we did a little bit more for the reading garden, and that's a segue to Ray.
Okay, the last time I was at this board meeting was in March 24th of this year, and at that time we discussed whose responsibility the reading garden was, or what we should do, or no, it seemed pretty much a deteriorated aspect of the garden, and it's the front door to the library, and so the Friends have more or less assumed responsibility of the garden. This summer was basically a learning year on what we need to do and how we need to handle it. We have planted several new plants. We planted some Zika plants in a little strip in the front, and they kind of come up all the time. The garden has two problems which we can't really resolve. One, it has no water to it, and the other had no electricity to it. So the electricity problem has some options which we might look into later this year. There's a post in front of the reading garden on the street side, which is an electrical post. We might be able to pull electricity from that. Originally, I thought we could pull electricity off the light posts, you know, at the bottom of the light posts, but we can't, because when they were installed in series, so you can't do anything with them. So the electricity problem is something we might resolve yet. The water problem is basically unresolvable unless we tore up the street and installed pipes, etc., and we're not going to do that. So in the re-beautification of the garden, let's put it that way, we've looked at plants that don't need water, more or less grow on their own. So this year we planted a Zika plant, which is like a cactus. There's quite a few around town. Those are growing pretty good. There's two of them in the front of the garden, and they have a real tall stalk of white flower. We've planted daylilies. They grow everywhere, you know, and they bloom almost all summer, and you'll be seeing those next summer because they were planted. We planted a couple piña plants. I can't think of some of the other plants, but we planted several plants this year, and it's kind of started to see how they go. We have more plants in mind that we'll plant this spring and this summer, and one of our bigger projects for this year coming up is on one of our problems this year was weeds, and so I think one of the ways we can solve that is on the walkways. We're going to re-sand the walkways with kind of a grout so the weeds don't grow up as bad. We'll do that probably in April. And I say we're going to do some more planting, and we're going to try to keep these weeds down. I think you'll find that the garden will have more flowers in it this year than it did before. This was kind of a year to see how it worked. I do have a paper you could have, and I'll pass that around. It talks about I'll read the first paragraph because this is basically what the reading garden is, and I do have an estimated budget on what the garden will cost and what we plan on spending on it this year. and how much time it would take to maintain the garden. The time factor is not really that strong. It just includes like planting, pruning, weed control, and cleanup, or trash cleanup and leaf cleanup. So it's really not a real time-consuming thing as far as that goes. I do, as this year, Scott, your maintenance man, did help me quite a bit, and I do appreciate his help, especially in weed control this year, and in helping to prune a little bit, and just recently we decorated those 2 pine trees.
I noticed that.
And I didn't realize how tall those pine trees were. I was just going to put bows on the top of them and some garland, and I brought my ladder, and that wasn't quite short enough. So Scott could help me with a ladder and protect me from falling down, I guess. So, but I do appreciate that help. I guess from what I was told was that the first time those trees have ever been decorated, which is kind of
I
surprises
don't remember
me.
them being decorated.
Because they're really not. We just have bows on the top and garland. And I did do the front post just as you come into the library with red bows, a little bit.
Looks good.
I'll read this first paragraph, and then you can pass this around or look at it later. The library reading garden was built in 2011, and with the purpose of presenting a pleasant outdoor place for library patrons, outdoor reading programs for children and adults, and a welcoming front yard for a historic facility. And unfortunately, it just got neglected and deteriorated, and it's really a shame. I say I'm kind of new to the Friends, and I kind of found this as one of my projects. And it is something that you see on the street, because that is a busy street, even though it's so short. And I think it's something that really could be utilized a lot more than it has been, especially in Oskaloosa, because we have a shortage of parks. I mean, except for its square and some other parks, Oskaloosa really doesn't have that many places to sit down. I have kind of had a few inspirations for the garden. There's a daily garden. I'm not sure if you are familiar with it. And
Is that used?
that it's kind of a hidden place, really.
Is
Not
there
that many
benches or
people
anything
even.
there?
Yeah, there are a couple benches there, but
Oh, yeah, there
but-
is. I volunteered there
yeah,
for years
there
of
are
meetings.
quite a few benches in it, and it does have a water
Moscow
system.
does. They put in water
And
system.
the other garden I was looking at is called Rhett's Place. I'm not sure if you're familiar with where Rhett's Place is. It's at the hospital, and you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
actually see it because you pull into the parking lot, and there's a staircase that goes down to it. But it's an open area. It's where if you're in the infusion center, you look out to it. And it has basically plants that need very little care, and so I was looking at that one. And the True Bank across the street. And he has, even this summer, he has that particular little garden strip is really bright and pretty. And again, he uses it with plants that come up every year with little care. And that's basically what we plan on doing with this garden here. And
Ray, there's water there, isn't there?
no, there is no water in the garden at all.
But there'd be a stub off the main because there was a house there. I remember when they tore it. Wasn't there a house there? And that's they gave it. So there should be
Moscow gave it
some.
to us, yeah.
If there's a water spigot
There's a water
on
spigot
the building.
on the
and
building.
You've got to,
Yeah,
we've given
on the
permission to
building.
use it.
Yeah.
People,
That's
of course, but
that's
the only water spigot
that's
out
one.
there.
Yeah.
So if you could make that available, I think that would be a good thing
Oh yeah, I'll
for
pass
us
that
to
down
be
to
able
you.
to take a look at.
Do you have a plan for, there's some capstones out there that are loose?
They have already been replaced.
They've already been taken care of?
Yeah, I know earlier this year, the original contractor for the reading garden was D&B Landscaping, and earlier this summer, Nicole contacted them, and they have replaced those stones that were missing around the reading pit.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, those stones
And the
have been.
library board paid for
Yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah,
All
those
done.
stones have been replaced.
I didn't
And,
know they were-
They're
they were
done,
completed.
yep.
Pretty much the garden's in, good shape. There's been some vandalism because those fences had been torn down accidentally. And I noticed when I was by her a few times this week, there's a light bulb that's burned out, one of the parking lot lights. But other than that, also I think if we could get electricity to that garden, that'd be a good place for a security camera and lighting as well. But that's when we'd have to look at, maybe this summer or this spring. I do have an estimated cost, which I put in your packet. And,
For a camera?
no, this
Oh, for-
estimated cost just to maintain the garden
Oh,
for,
okay.
for this year.
Okay.
I'll give you this copy here. My estimated cost for this year would be about $1,000 plus or minus, and this includes plant replacements, sand for the walkway. I'm not really sure how much that sand will be, how much we're going to use, mulch and weed control. And my estimated time is about 1 to 2 hours a week. And from April to October, which is 6 months. So I estimate about 48 to 50 hours of maintenance in the garden. Now I'm not sure I can handle 50 hours, but I am looking at some volunteer people that might be interested in doing that as well.
So just, we have a lot of things to be doing today in this meeting, but one thing, the cost, the maintenance cost, is that something that you're talking about covering, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so, and then you're gonna try to see if you can saddle somebody for the manpower, so to speak,
Yes,
to do
yeah,
this?
pretty much volunteer.
Because those were some of that was one of the big concerns, I guess, board buys that we had toward the end of this past season especially. I mean, things got sort of out of hand. And as you know, it's a lot easier to get out there and do some preventive sort of, hey,
That's
there's
right.
weeds, let's get them. Man, if you let that go for a couple weeks, all of a sudden you've got a jungle that's this is going to take a heck of a lot more time to try to reestablish control over.
Yeah,
So-
and I kind of realized that sort of happened in July. July was a month I was on Ragbri and on vacation, and when I did come back at the end of July, there was quite a few weeds, and it had covered most of part of the walkways. And I know that's when Scott used some weed killer on it, and I spent a lot of time out there pulling those weeds out.
Yeah,
Yeah, and after that we kind of kept it down quite a bit.
okay.
But I do appreciate the help, especially on weed control. That we earlier, well, it's kind of late in the season, so we had talked about doing some contracting weed control. But I suppose we could do that, or we could maybe, because it is still city property. And if we could get the weed killer from the city, that would be a big benefit.
Okay, good. Well, thanks a lot for the report. And
Oh,
this
you
was
can
real
have it.
helpful. And hopefully we
Okay.
can do this more frequently, as we have done in the past, and sort of have regular reports going with what's happening with the Friends, and as well, we'd be really interested in hearing what's going on with the team advisory group and that kind of thing too. But welcome. And you guys are welcome to stick around or take off. It's your call at this time.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There's
Thank you, Ray.
one piece of
Sit
board
down,
correspondence, I
You
guess,
should.
that came
I've
my
never seen a whole
way.
meeting.
You should
And
too.
it's to whom it may concern, anonymous letter, and I'm gonna pass this around actually. But basically, this is a mother of a 13-year-old who made an observation of space and the use of space that we make available for kids and adults, and how we kind of separate that out, dealing with computer access and so forth. And she just provides some insights as to what might be something worth thinking about. This would be, obviously, I think it would be a foolish thing to just all of a sudden to say, oh my gosh, so, you know, a mother made a suggestion and now we can let's go ahead and redesign everything we're doing. But this, I think she brings up some good points, so.
But it's still
Without getting
anonymous.
into the deep, pardon
But
me?
it's still anonymous.
It is anonymous and.
I don't put much, I'm
It is,
sorry.
I don't either, but it is what it is, and it's not bad, it's not it's not negative, it's really kind of a positive thing. Are we using the genealogy and the genealogical space appropriately? Are we using the magazine room allocated space most appropriately? These are kind of the questions that she's sort of asking in what she's conveying here, so I pass that around. Let me see, and I think that's about it. Any other input from anybody? Board-wise, okay, so that moves us to the director's report. We
Okay,
can do that within 2 minutes, that would be good.
all right.
You're on the clock now.
I sent out an email to you letting you know that I was going to be sending some staff to a summer reading workshops. I know this has not been done for a while, but that it had been done in the past with other directors. As I mentioned, the workshops are free, so basically just cost us mileage to send them. And with a new children's librarian who was just fresh out of college, I thought this would be a great opportunity to see her go to the workshops, especially since she's, from Illinois and might not be familiar with how we do summer workshops. I had them write a little thing about what they learned, and so they were able to just come up with some great ideas. The theme is Build a Better World, and so it sounds like there's a lot of different community resources that we're going to be able to use, such as the community gardens, maybe United Way, having some local designers come in. So we're already getting a bunch of ideas for summer reading. Seems like it's a long ways away, but it's, a big deal for the library. So as soon as we can start planning, it's great. I was invited to speak with the PEO ladies, so I had a great time with that. I did some book talks, and they were really excited about the books that I talked about. And they are wanting to have me back to do some more book talks. I got a lovely thank you card from them. I didn't talk too much about my going to the Iowa Library Association. I did go to a great session on management and just reflective managing, to have you journal a little bit about your management style and how you can change some of the things you're doing as a manager. I also am part of the library leadership and management subdivision, and this year I was nominated the chair of that division for the state of Iowa. We were excited to partnership with William Penn University. We had a teacher come in with her students who are elementary education majors. They wanted to have a tour of the library as well as view our story time. She was really interested in getting them in to use the library, so they got to find out about all of our library resources. And then they had great questions about our story time. The teens are working on the Christmas parade float. This year's theme is a storybook Christmas, so they're all gonna dress up as storybook characters. And then they have oversized cardboard things that they're making books out of. And and they're gonna hold those up, and the books are going to be, the books that they're actually storybook characters out of, so that'll be cool. And then I was approached by a member of the Golden Goose Club, and they want us to submit a project idea to take to the club to get money to purchase books.
Any comments, questions on any of that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
Great for both
Yeah.
us and you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
very good. One comment that I have on summer reading workshops, and that was good, that we had some people, I thought, that were participating in that. I think in the future it would be a good thing, whenever possible, to sort of talk about that in advance, in terms of a communication with the board, as opposed to just sort of a email. But I think this is good.
Okay.
I'm just saying this in the spirit of, working with the board.
Yep, and it was kind of a last
Seemed like it
minute
was
deal.
something that kind of
Yep.
came up, so I think that's fine, but.
In regards to Golden Goose, not trying to give you insider information by any means, but I do have a little bit of insight on how that organization works. The suggestion I would make is, I saw something, we were talking about having a large print program, is that correct? Did I see that somewhere in my minutes or that was talked about
Money
at some
was
point?
given,
Yeah.
that will buy
Yeah.
large print books from the
It
Women's
was
Club.
designated.
20,000.
It was a large contribution.
I would pick a project like that and have the friends do it for Golden Goose.
Now, wait, just a minute. What now?
I would pick a specific project like that and have the friends take it rather than a city entity take it to.
To the Golden Goose.
Right, because we are a city entity.
Okay, I'm a Golden Goose, so,
Would you agree that that's?
yeah, it needs to come from individual.
Yeah, it's
Or
gonna
group.
come from an individual Golden Goose member.
Oh, okay.
Is it really?
Yes.
Good.
You're suggesting, clarify what you're saying.
Scotty Moore is going to be presenting it to the Golden Goose Club.
So she already has,
No, I need to come up with a project and she's going to present it.
See,
to
what
the
you have to
Golden
do, you
Goose
gotta
Club.
get somebody that'll do it
Right.
first. Then you have to get, I have a project right now, but I want somebody to take it over. It's not for here, it's for Edmondson. But I've been thinking about Stacy. And,
I'm still working the project out.
how that works is you come to the Golden Goose meeting, you present what you would like, and then sometimes you have the person to do it, sometimes you don't yet. And then we decide, is this something that's worthwhile for the community, and how it would best serve the community.
And it's an all or none.
It's all or none,
You
yeah.
either win or you don't. And so
Yeah.
I'm not
So
trying.
what
I'm not
Michael
trying to
said-
tell
Right,
you.
well, I
I'm
was
not
thinking
trying to
about
tell you
doing
what to
large
do.
print, but we just got $20,000.
But it could be audio, there could be other, there could be
Yeah.
some
I'm
other.
not
And
trying
right
to tell
now,
you
we
what
don't
to
have a
do,
lot
I
of
just don't
projects
know.
out there, so put on your thinking caps.
But what
Right.
I think what Michael's saying is that instead of presenting something from the library, if you could like cap it under, say, the, Friends, then it's gonna have a better chance of being heard, because Friends is not per se a city entity.
And it needs to
Well,
be
but,
a specific.
I think that the library is, as long as somebody else is willing to, I don't think it should come from one of us, but if it comes from Scotty or somebody else like that, I think everybody loves the library.
I think it might be a good idea to have the money we would get go towards some of these programs that are so interesting that.
Well, we
for
can't do
adults.
that,
We can't.
not for the Golden Goose, you can't.
Oh. Why?
Well, because that's not what we are. We're, like, we did the movie uptown, that big screen and all that. We gave the money for that.
I'm not
The
trying to.
the Christmas
I'm trying
tree
to confuse.
will have music this year and a sound system. Something tangible has to be spent on it.
So anyway, that's something I think we're thinking
All right.
to see you again. Any other comments on any of that? Questions? Okay, moving ahead to committee reports, what about Jane, staff report?
The only thing I have is I got to meet Shandy, and she's very sweet, and it sounds like she's doing a great job. Even though that's not my whatever, but she's good.
Budget and finance, I didn't meet Kathy, Ken, did you guys?
We did meet last week, sometime in the recent future, recent past. And I think it passed out. We talked about some budget revisions that the board was proposing based on things that we had, places we had spent or were going to be by the end of the year. Took up some generally fairly minor numbers, but those are outlined on those sheets in front of you. What else did we had a long discussion about, we can have a continuing discussion about the fees being charged to our Rosehill.
Yep.
And we looked at what other communities, several other communities are charging for their communities that take services from them. And they're kind of all over the board. And did we make a final decision? Or did we leaning, I think our last decision was we were leaning toward establishing a flat fee, and then going forward each year, increasing that by a percentage, flat percentage of 3% a year. That would help them in terms of budgeting what that number would be. And maybe help in terms of getting them from getting a big jump like we did with the Rosehill situation this past year.
And that would be something that would be fit into all the other outlying communities, if you'd say.
Yes,
type of,
we should all the same way, obviously.
Yep.
Flat charge everybody and then just increase it by that, say, about 3% a year.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Yes, we talked briefly about the budget for next year too.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we did. We did today, and it was only me and Nicole. We talked about that briefly the other day, though, didn't we? We
Oh.
talked about raising the.
Yeah, what we were going to,
We talked
yeah,
about raising.
we did.
A part that we had to adjust. So
Very small
next
amounts.
time, we
Yeah.
have to adjust it. Goes on all the time.
Essentially, we said, most of the budget looks, this year's budget looks pretty good going into next year. They only had a couple minor changes. One was a couple years ago, we took library materials, they took $7,000 out of library materials. We talked about bringing that back up to $30,000 back there. We looked at adding a little bit in training and meetings and conferences. And then we discussed the telecommunications, concerns with telecommunications. We need to raise that a little bit based on where the fees are that we're paying and anticipating our decision will probably raise the price again next year. So there's a $600 increase in the telecommunications.
Okay. Questions, anything there? Judy, with the policy planning.
We met and we talked about the credit card policies and how, so that they'll be the same for both credit cards. And that has gone to Amy, is that right? Before we have presented to her.
Yes, I spoke with Amy and she wants me to go ahead and send it over to David Dixon for final approval.
So next month, we'll be ready to use that.
And I didn't get a chance to make it to the meeting, but I also wanted to put out how we could develop or craft a policy that any employee of the library, director, whomever, get board approval before they reach out to another entity for funding for any projects. So the board's aware of what's going on.
So that's something that can be taken up at the next meeting of the committee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Anything further, Judy, anything
No.
else?
Mhm, that's it.
Right, Ken, technology.
My only outstanding comment on this is the technology committee asked for a report several months ago on how constant contact was working, and we haven't gotten any feedback on that yet. We'd still like to see some data on that.
So where are we standing with that?
Right now, we have an average of about 800 users per month.
Okay, could you email me that data from them?
Sure.
I'd appreciate that. So, as far as technology, that's it. We haven't met for anything.
Right. Chris, building and grounds.
We met, we're still in the process of trying to look into a new video system for the library. Currently, there's a couple of black and white monitors that do not record. We're looking at finding some local people to come in and possibly upgrade those to both color and a recording option. Just trying to stay ahead of any events that might occur here in the library. It's still just something that we're looking at. Winger, we've got a bill that we're going to be looking at that they came in and did some work, and that leads to our mid-AM bill, which is increased significantly from, we've had Winger come in and there were some downdraft vents that were incorrectly installed, they think. We think we've got a handle on those. We've done some reprogramming. Pressures in the building are supposed to be equal now, and things are supposed to be running better. So we'll continue to look at some of these things without making any more changes, and hopefully we'll continue to see that improvement. So that bill this month is down to about $2,700. It was $10,500 last month. So I know the weather has something to do with that, but that $10,500, if y'all remember, is from the water getting into the ducts, and then we have to run both the AC and furnace evaporate. Anyway, so we're doing well there. The other thing that we've got is another quote from Winger that is going to be replacing some flooring and some a toilet.
And I have an official quote from them,
Okay.
so
So they'll be in, put down a polymer on the floor, fix kind of a rickety flooring problem, and get a new stool, and that's been an ongoing problem. That's all that we've got for us.
Questioning on that. Thank you, thanks everybody. And it's interesting always how building and grounds segues right into unfinished business. Here's the toilet repair issue. So,
I'd like to make a motion that we have Winger in to get the toilet and floor repaired, second floor.
Excuse me, is Winger local?
Winger's out of Ottumwa.
I didn't think I
They're
recognized the name.
the best option that
They
we've
are.
got as close to home as we can get.
Okay.
They're great.
We've had some really good luck. with
Mike
them
has had
coming in.
wonderful rapport with them. That he
Well,
has
that's good.
told
I
us.
just-
Versus our previous
Yeah.
contractor that we just
Previous several, yes.
several.
and coming around right now is the
Second
quote, I
motion.
think.
this is an
so.
itemized quote. I wasn't able to get it until today. We did, prior to this, have an email quote from them.
So there's a motion and a second. There's a quote going around.
Oh, it's one for everybody. They're all the same.
Yeah, they're all the
There's a
same.
boring read.
That's really,
I went a
I'll
lot
support
faster
it.
than you thought.
Call for the
I don't
vote.
know.
Any discussion?
Yeah, is there any, does anyone want to read this first, or, all right, all in favor of giving the approval, or of supporting the approval to go ahead with the toilet repair, signify
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. New business. What about approval of the 2017 holiday closings for the library? Do we have info on that here?
I'm gonna we approve the library holiday closing.
I second.
So Christmas Eve, I don't understand that. Christmas Eve, you get Christmas Day off to recognize Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Is that right? Because on this schedule, the Christmas Eve closing is Monday, December 25th, 2017. So they're recognizing Christmas Eve as a day off on Christmas Day.
Well, we're also closed the 26th, so we get the 24th and the 25th closed. But because the 24th falls on a Sunday, then we have to take another day. So the city manager decided to make it Tuesday.
So shouldn't that be on here?
So that should be the 20, yes.
It's 25th and 6th.
So Monday, December 25th should be Christmas Day.
Right.
And Monday, December
No.
20th.
No, Sunday.
Christmas,
So we should have, like,
Sunday,
Christmas
Christmas
break.
Day is on
This
This would be
Sunday.
2017.
So
This
it's
one.
2017.
Got it.
27.
Oh,
Not-
for next year.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
So
Christmas
Christmas-
Eve is gonna fall
On
I
the
can't find it.
26th.
Right.
So
26th
Christmas
in
Eve will
effect.
be, the Christmas Eve holiday is December 26th, and the Christmas Day
Day
holiday is
holiday
the
is-
25th.
Or
So
should we could
postpone
just,
Christmas Eve for
Yes.
sake of city management or something.
we just
I-
call it
I
Christmas
don't
break
care.
or
I'm just
something, December
trying to
25th and
figure it out.
26th?
I thought maybe it would be the 22nd would be,
Well, and it could have been, but that was his choice
okay,
to make it, because we called over and asked.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
Yeah, we called over and asked
Come on, man.
what he wanted to do, and the first time he was busy, so we had to wait.
I don't care, I just wanted to.
Yeah.
So the day after
clarify.
Thanksgiving, can we
Yes.
call it Black Friday? I'd be more comfortable with that.
Like this year.
No.
This year it's Saturday, Sunday, so we have Friday and Monday.
Gotcha.
Jane gives me dirty
Okay.
looks.
So,
I
don't
hate
know.
Black
Was
Friday.
there
I
a
hate it
motion
too.
to
I've
approve
never
this?
done it.
There was a
Yes.
motion.
Yeah,
I'd like
please
to
do
approve
it.
it. Was there a second, I hope?
Yes.
Because we're discussing it already. Is there any more discussion about this
Well,
2017?
the motion has to be
holidays?
amended because of the dates then, correct?
Just need to add a day.
Yeah.
There's
Just
that,
adding, yeah.
we're gonna add Christmas.
6th.
Yeah,
So
December
Christmas
26th.
holiday is the 25th and 6th,
yes.
which
That simplifies it.
encapsulates a couple days.
Yeah.
So,
So whomever made the motion, do they accept the amendment then?
I do.
Okay.
all right. So any further discussion on that? All in favor of approval of this amended motion, signify with an aye.
Aye.
Same sign for denying. All right. Let's see. Approval of claims.
We've got another.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I just miss? Yes, approval of work completed by Winger. That was the
Oh, it's been done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also in the approval of claims.
So Winger submitted a bill for $1,860.11, and that was for some work completed.
That was work for completed on number 1 and number 4. That work was done on multiple dates. We talked about it at the Building and Grounds Committee. It was also explained by Mike. And then, as Chris explained, after the repairs were done, our bills were dropped, our electric bills were dropped significantly.
Motion to approve payment of this.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor of approving the motion? What are we, what's, your motion is this a motion?
Approve
to pay?
payment of the
All right.
Winger bill. Yes.
Thank you. So all in favor of approving, of supporting the motion to approve payment, signify
Aye.
with an aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, very good. Now, approval of claims, I think, is in order.
I'll make a motion.
I'd just like to kind of bring to light what Mike said about, I see there's a reimbursement for mileage and some money for Best Western for a hotel for what was probably the ILA conference. Is that right?
Right.
So yeah, just bring to light what Mike said about next time, let's make sure that that's in the budget and that, that's several $100s.
That was in the budget, and that was a last minute decision
Yeah,
as
no,
well. And then,
not
as I
arguing.
discussed at the last meeting, I will be bringing that to you in the
Okay.
future.
Anything further? Further discussion, further clarification, anything on these claims?
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
It's easy. Concrete Works, I know they did work in the parking lot. Why do we have $50 in the normal, just general claims and then $5,600? Why wasn't that all together?
And the $50?
Yeah.
We had them do some back work by the back door where the staff entrance is to help with when people urinate back there to have the drainage going.
For the movie theater, right?
Yeah,
Oh, keep that off of there.
can't
So
believe people
anyway,
go back there and pee.
I got
It wasn't.
And we had to run an electric cord along there.
Right,
What
so
a
we
shock.
just, it was just a, I don't care, I just, it's
I've heard
$50
about
on
that
it,
problem.
$6,000.
Yeah, she's telling me.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah, I know.
Right, anything further on the claims? All in favor of approving the claims, signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. President's remarks, that would be me, I don't really have it. Strategic planning.
Okay, I'll grab Becky.
I've got to go. So I did
Yeah,
not know, I did not realize somehow that, I know it's on here, but I don't remember having a discussion about that was going to be the mega meeting tonight, so, but I might have missed it, so.
Okay.
So, okay.
I have to go too. Didn't know it was gonna be
How
a
long
long
is she
meeting.
expecting this is gonna take?
This is gonna take about 3 hours, so I do.
Yeah,
I can't sit that one, I'll tell you that.
Didn't know that was happening tonight.
I had no idea, I didn't remember talking about it.
well, we did at the last meeting, we talked about it.
Right, we did
We
talk
didn't
about
talk
it
that
at
it
the
was gonna
last
happen
meeting.
tonight, though.
And I did want to talk to you because I can grab food.
I got it. My kid.
I got a child to get.
Oh, my kid too.
Okay. The strategic planning next year's. It's just basically, we've already done all the planning, it's basically just got.
No, you have
The other piece